What you just heard was the cry of the Siamese crocodile. It's a critically endangered species, and yet in the Xe Champhone floodplain of central Laos, that cry could be interpreted as one of success rather than distress. About 12,000 hectares of flooded forests, oxbow lakes, paddy fields and grasslands make up this site, which the Lao government designated in 2010 as a wetland of international importance under the Ramsar Convention. Some 100 Siamese crocodiles survive in the area, one of the largest populations in the world. And that's in part because hunting here has long been regulated by customary law.
อันนั้นในเขตนี้ของเฮาน่ะก็มีความยำเกรงอยู่เช่นกุดเตากุดมักแผ่วตัวนี้หาปูหาปลาได้บ่ได้หากินได้อันได้ก็ทำแบบบ่ประมาทน่ะว่าซั่นให้เอาเต็มแห้งเลยบ่ได้กินคำว่าขออยู่ขอกินเด้อลูกหลานมาทุกยากก็ได้เพราะว่าหมดลงไปให้มันเลิกแล้วมีคนน้ำนะมาเพื่อโลดสำเด็กน้อยนี่ก็บ่ได้เฮ็ดหยังให้ไฟดอก
In Nakatang, where villagers belong to the Katang ethnic group, Mrs. Maniva is collecting a bit of medicinal bark. In accordance with customary law, she had to ask the spirits for permission to do this. That's because this is no ordinary forest. It's what locals in the Xe Champhone region call a spirit forest, and it's what environmentalists call a blessing.
Remaining patches of forest or the remaining wetlands are currently under customary law, so it's obvious that the customary law are quite important to protect what is left. So they played a really important role in preserving some remaining patches of biodiversity.
Those who ignore these customary laws do so at their own risk. Stories abound in Xe Champhone of people getting sick or even dying after offending the spirits by breaking customary law. To avoid such a fate, they must quickly go to a spirit master, whose role it is to determine how to set things right after an offense. Typically, a sacrifice will be required to make up for the offense and to pacify the spirits. For a minor violation, a duck or chicken may suffice. Killing a crocodile, though, would most certainly require a pig or even a buffalo, and such large animals are costly for villagers. Mr. Tong, a young fisher from Tansun village, takes these beliefs very seriously. He's just returned from Wang Halwai, a nearby lake within the Ramsar site. He's collected abandoned bird nests to sell as decorations and a bag full of snails. The wetlands and surrounding forests are indeed an important source of food for the 20,000-odd people living in the 40 villages of the area. On market days in King Kokdong, the largest village in the Ramsar site, stalls are piled with edible plants and animals, as well as medicinal plants and other non-timber forest products. But one animal you won't find here is the Asiatic soft-shelled turtle, which is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. Again, its protection owes much to the local belief that the turtles are the children of spirits, and that the spirits actually live in them. One unwary poacher is said to have found this out at his own expense, here at Turtle Lake in Dongdeng village.
มีความเป็นมาถ้าผู้ใดหักลักลอบเอาตัวปลาพานี้ไปกินหรือว่าเอาไปขายบัดแล้วมันจะออกมันมีนั่งเทียมเด้คือว่ามันละชูนเทียมเจ้าน้องนี่ไปเทียมคนมันมีเจ้าเทียมอยู่เทียมขึ้นแล้วผู้นั้นเอาเจ้าไปช่องโตแม่นบ่มากราบสารภาพว่าแม่นโดยยอมแล้วเจ้าแก้ไขฮีดแก้ไขแนวใดแก้ตามฮีดรีดตามข้องของมันคอยก็บ่ได้อยากได้ของเจ้าดอกแต่ว่าอิงตามมาให้ซักลักน้องที่เพิ่นถือมาตั้งแต่หลายเช่นคนมันแตะต้องแบบนั้นน่ะเจ้าต้องแก้เขาก็แก้ก็ดีแท้
As Koan Chamban, or ritual master, 76-year-old Mr. Kao plays another crucial role in local customary law. He presides over ceremonies and makes offerings to the spirits of the land on behalf of villagers. It's a role inherited from his father.
ก็ถือว่าคอยนี้เป็นลูกของพ่อเป็นกวนจำตั้งแต่ก่อนและคอยเป็นผู้สืบห้อยตาว่าห้อยพ่อเอาจุ่มอื่นก็บ่ได้จุ่มนี้เพราะว่าหน้านั้นมันอยู่ใต้น้องนิโรธแม่หน้าคอยและเพิ่นเคยบรบัดน้องอันนี้กับเจ้ามาให้ชักลักน้องมาตั้งแต่หลายสิบคน
Mr. Kao says things are changing. Some teenagers don't heed the rules as they once did. The kids sure still seem keen, though. But they have the fun part to play. Their job is to sing, to call the sacred turtles for a feeding. If anything, soft-shell turtles here seem more at risk of getting fat than getting poached. The same might be said for another admittedly far less endangered animal in the region. The 1,000 or so monkeys of Dong Muang are treated with great care and respect, and rightly so. They were here long before the village existed, and they are, after all, guardians of the spirits in this sacred natural site. They've excelled at their job too. These woods boast some of the mightiest trees left standing in this region of Laos, a situation that, here at least, even the new generation seems set to uphold.
โยขัดตามแท้กับบ่จักให้แตะต้องแหละคันลูกหลานบ่แตะบ่ต้องบ่เฮ็ดชับกระปกลายบ่เหืออะไรนี่ให้เจียมให้ย่ำเพื่อนนี่ก็อยู่ดีมีแฮงสบายบ้านเมืองก็เจริญอีก
In nearby Kengkok Dong, it's the ritual master's own well-being that's at stake if people misbehave on sacred ground.
พิษแต่ต้องมาหาแม่เลยเฮ็ดพิธีคือว่าเขาเฮ็ดมาเฮ็ดเปื้อนๆนี่คือกันแต่บ่แตะต้องเขาแล้วมาแตะต้องแม่ก็แต่งคันหายอมเพิ่นเว้านำเพิ่นก็วางแม่ก็ขออยู่ดีมีแฮงกันถ้าไปมาเฮ็ดผิดอยู่นี่แล้วมึงคั่งกับผิดแม่นะมาเฮ็ดกับแม่ว่าแม่เป็นคนบ่บอกบ่สอนเขา
Of course, the ritual master's well-being is closely linked to that of the village as a whole, so it's in everyone's best interest to root out offenders. A good harvest in Kengkok Dong, for instance, depends on Mrs. Luan's strength as a ritual master. To propitiate the spirit of the land, she must smoke chili and drink the local moonshine called Lao Lao. Integral to the whole pre-harvest ceremony is also the ritual release of a turtle. The turtle takes the blessing of a little flower, along with the village's respects, down to the wetland. A job it carries out with all possible haste. Such beliefs do not preclude all forms of land use, though. For the Katang of the Nakatang village, the spirit forest is sacred, but also there to serve. Ritual master Mr. Kambang explains that whole trees even can be felled, if need be.
ก็ถามว่าของรวมนะคือว่าเพิ่นอยากได้ไม่มีเวียกหมดบ้านเห็นดีว่าตกลงเห็นไหมก็ได้ขอกับหมูตัวนึงคือกันมาขอหันกัน
Ritual sacrifices, whether asking the spirits for permission or forgiveness, can be quite elaborate affairs which the whole village will turn out to take part in. First, regrowth on the ceremonial ground is cleared so everyone can sit down. The elders take front row seats nearest the spirit house. A tray is then prepared with the things the ritual master will need. He lights candles to call forth the spirit of the forest and sprinkles rice on either side of the spirit house while reciting incantations. Finally, amid much clamor and with the sacrificial pig present, the ritual master casts 2 chips of sacred wood on the ground to see what the spirit has to say.
ไม่เฮาโยนถ้าเพิ่นบ่ฮับแล้วก็มันปีนคือกันก็บ่ได้ถ้ามันฮับมันตัวนึงความตัวนึงง่ายหั่นตัวนั้นได้
If the answer is yes, the sacrifice, feast, and festivities begin. While carrying out such rituals, local villagers in southern Laos clearly don't have conservation objectives in mind. But IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, sees customary law as something concrete to build on.
So the advantages of this approach is that definitely this is something that the villager believe in and rules that the villager follow. Sometimes when we try to implement a national protected area, it's quite difficult to bring a regulation, I would say, from the top to the village level, because it's something coming from outside. Here, what we try to do is to build on what is their experience on the site.
There's still a lot of work to do. To most villagers here, notions of conservation remain strictly local and spiritual rather than environmental. This means the areas protected remain small and vulnerable to those whose sacred sites lie elsewhere.
This is a limit where people would protect one small forest but then would impact the environment when it's outside the spiritual forest. So we try to bring also a thinking on conservation through these bases that are sacred protected area and bring a wider thinking on the entire site.
Little by little, IUCN and the national and provincial Ramsar authorities hope a broader picture will start taking shape. After completing a study showing how customary law governs natural resources, the goal is now to support a bottom-up approach through which villagers themselves will build local regulations for the entire Ramsar site based on their local beliefs.